हरिः ओम्। चातुर्यैकनिधानसीमचपलापाङ्गच्छटामन्दरम् लावण्यामृतवीचिवल्लरि दृशां लक्ष्मीकटाक्षादृतम् काळिन्दीपुलिलाङ्गणप्रणयिनं कामावताराङ्कुरं बालं नीलम् अमीवयं मधुरिमस्वराज्यमाराध्नुमः बर्होत्तंसविलासिकुन्तलभरं माधुर्यमग्नाननं प्रोन्मीलल्नवयौवनं प्रविलसद् वेणुप्रदानामृतम् आपीनस्तनकुट्मलाभिरभितो गोपीभिराराधितं ज्योतिश्चेतसि नश्चकास्ति जगताम् एकाभिरामाद्भुतम् आम्नायाभ्यसनान्यरण्यरुदितं वेदव्रतानन्वहं मेदश्छेदफलानि पूर्तविदयः सर्वे हुतं भस्मनि तीर्थानाम् अवगाहनानि च गजस्नानं विना यत्पदद्वन्द्वाम्बोरुह संस्मृतिर्विजयते देवः स नारायणः। सन्ध्यावन्दनभद्रमस्तु भवतो भो स्नानतुभ्यं नमः। भो देवाः पितरश्च तर्पणविधौ नाहं क्षम्यताम् यत्र क्वापि निषिद्य यादवकुलोत्तंसस्य कंसद्विषः स्मारं स्मारमघं हरामि तदलम् अन्यैः किमन्येन मे मुग्धं मां निगदन्तु नीतिनिपुणाः भ्रान्तं मुहुर्वैदिकाः मन्दं बान्धवसञ्चयाः जडधियं मुक्तादरः सोदरः उन्मत्तं धनिनो विवेकचतुराः कामं महादाम्भिकं मुक्तुं न क्षमते मनागपि मनो गोविन्दपादस्पृहाम् विरचय मयि दण्डं दीनबन्धो दयां वा गतिरिह न भवत्तः कश्चिदन्यो ममास्ति निबततु शतकोटि निर्भरं वा नवाम्भः तदपि किल भयोदस्तूयते चातकेन वंशीविभूषितकरात् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदान्तवेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। श्रीगणेश शारदा गुरुभ्यो नमः। शिवाय गुरवे नमः। In the last session we discussed that a relationship that is established with Bhagavan Vasudeva Sri Krishna through bhakti or devotion very soon awakens vairagya and jnanam, dispassion and immediate knowledge of self. Today Sudha is pointing out that on the contrary, vitirekataha, if the pursuit of dharma does not generate bhakti, then that dharma is wasted labor. That is the verse today. Let us look at it. The 8th verse. Dharmaswanushthidah pumsam vishwaksena kathasuyaha na utpadayed yadiratim srama eva hi kevalam. So the padacheda would be dharmaha su anushtitaha pumsam vishwaksena kathasu yaha na utpadayet yadi ratim sramaha eva hi kevalam. And the anvaya would be pumsam yaha dharmaha swanushtitaha vishwaksena kathasu yadi ratim na utpadayet hi kevalam srama eva. The meaning is dharma, one's occupational duties, su anishtitaha, well performed, well executed in terms of one's own position, pumsam, of the mankind, Vishwaksena Kathasu, in the stories of Sri Krishna, the message of Sri Krishna. Yaha, what is, na, not, utpadayet, does not produce, yadi, if, ratim, love, attraction, sramaha eva, it is only useless labor, he, certainly, kevalam, entirely. So if that dharma or religious duty or one's occupational duty, however well practiced, performed, if it does not create love for the stories of Lord Krishna, it is certainly sheer labor, sheer waste of time. A religious duty well performed is but labor lost if it fails to generate love for the stories, rati for the stories of Bhagavan Krishna, Sri Harikatha Rati. Now Sridhara here says, Vitirekamaha, on the contrary. On the contrary means what? That on the contrary, if dharma is pursued and if it does not generate rati, bhakti, that's the meaning of Vitireka. Yo dharma idi prasiddhaha sayadi vishwaksenasya kathasu radim na utpadayet tarhi swanishtitobhi san ayam sramaha jneyaha. That is what Sridhara writes. Sridhara begins with this statement, Yo dharma idi prasiddhaha. Prasiddhaha means widely known. This widely known term known as dharma. Where is it so well known? Where is dharma well known? Only in the Vedas. No other culture has this word. So in the Vedas, what is dharma? Dharmo vishwasya jagata pratishtha. Dharma indeed holds this entire visible universe. So something which holds everything together, that is called dharma. The very word indicates that dharma is the substratum, it is the basis of all that is there in this universe. And dharma is not just merely a duty, like when you say swadharma, an occupation or a religious or ethical code. It is also that. But more than that, dharma is described in our shastras as all pervading, vishwasya jagataha pratishtha, all encompassing, a cosmic law underlying right conduct, right behavior, and the cosmic order as well. This kind of definition of dharma is found in the Mahabharata. Dharanat dharma ityahu dharmo dharayati prajaha yasyad dharana samyukta sadharma iti nischyaha. That which holds together, unites and removes separation or divisions in society, in communities, that is called as dharma. So dharma holds this society together and never divides. That which has the power to unite the entire society, according to the Mahabharata, is most conclusively dharma. Sa dharma iti nischyaha. That is the last line, fourth line. By pointing out that dharma never divides. So it is indicated that any ideal that hinders anyone from pursuing their religion is not true dharma. The same point is once again stated in the Mahabharata itself. Bahun yo badhate dharmo nasa dharma kuvartmatat. Bahun yo badhate dharmo nasa dharma kuvartmatat. Avirodhi tu yo dharmaha sadharmo nripapungava. Bhishma says that Yudhishthira, O king, O Nripapungava, the dharma that does not let another person to pursue his own dharma is not dharma. It is kudharma. It is misconduct in the name of good conduct, dharma. So dharma that never places hindrance to another performing his own dharma or work is indeed real dharma. So the dharma described by our Shastras is meant for the entire humanity, anywhere in the world. The teachers that came occasionally, all of them, like Buddha, Mahavira, Guru Nanak, all other Moses, all other teachers, all these have come later in time than the Upanishad rishis. Even the moderns estimate that the Rig Veda is 3,500 years old. So they are much, much older than all these teachers put together. The Sanatana Dharma, the eternal Dharma, has no beginning in time. In our culture, Dharma is passed on in an uninterrupted chain or parampara. And it is pramanika. It is authentic. It is free from erroneous thinking or inaccuracies. It is based on the non-dual essence of Satyam, Brahman, the fundamental reality. That is the Satyam or truth of all that is there in the universe. So it is this Dharma that is taught to the entire Manava, entire humankind by sage Manu as the tenfold path of ethics. Manusmriti, he says in the 6th chapter, 92nd verse, these 10 essential rules, when observed earnestly, leads to the manifestation of dharma in the anushtata or the practitioner, the person who does this dharma achara. What are those 10 rules? Dhriti, Kshama, Damosteyam, Shauchamindriya Nigraha, Dhir, Vidya, Satyam, Akrodho, Dashakam, Dharma Lakshanam. Steadfast behavior, forgiveness, self-control, non-stealing, cleanliness, purity, restraint over senses, wisdom, knowledge of truth, and akrodaha, calmness. These are the 10 universal attributes of dharma. The first one is steadfastness, dhriti. Dhriti, Kshama, Damosteyam. Dhriti is the first one. Dhriti is the guna or attribute that does dharanam, which upholds, which bears everything. It holds the entire body, mind, sense complex. It controls our jnanendriyas, the 5 senses, and the karmendriyas, the 5 organs of action, and the manovritti, the thought modification. Adi Shankara Bhagavatpada explains Dhriti in his Gita Bhashya as a particular frame of mind, function of mind which removes dullness of the body and organs when the body becomes exhausted. And being rejuvenated by this mental dhriti, the body and organs does not feel any fatigue. In spite of challenges, dhriti helps one to continue with his dharmacharanam. Hence, dhriti is considered as the first dharma. The second dharma is kshama, or forgiveness, tolerance. If you look at Mahavishnu, on the right side of his chest, there is a mark. This mark came on Mahavishnu's chest because of Bhrigu Maharshi's foot. It's a footmark of Bhrigu Maharshi. It shows Mahavishnu's kshama or tolerance and regard for sages like Bhrigu. Only one who has this quality of kshama will be dharmika. and one who has a value for jnani and jnanam and people who have this knowledge, he will be a dharmatma. So kshama is the second attribute of universal dharma. The third one is dhamma or sense control. Dhamma means turning our senses away from the sense objects so that we can find some deeper happiness and meaning in life than what the sensual pleasures of the world can offer us. And the next one is asteyam, the practice of non-stealing and non-covetousness, that is asteyam. Next is shaucham. Shaucham means purity. Purity is antarigam and bahyam. Purity of mind and purity of body. The external purity is achieved by cleansing with water. And the mind and the internal, the heart, intellect, they are freed from mala by knowledge of scriptures. That's what the Gita Mahatma says. Malanirmochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine. By snanam, external purity is achieved. Sakrit Gitambasi snanam samsara malanashanam. By reading one verse of a Gita or Bhagavatam, your mental impurities are destroyed. The next one is Indriya Nigraha, restraining of the senses, so that your mind is available for better things. Then is Dhi or intelligence, Dhir, Dharanavati, Medha, that increases by Vichara. And next one is Vidya, the pursuit of learning. This is achieved by Abhyasa, constant practice. And then Satyam, truthfulness, honesty of purpose, freedom from cunningness in dealing with the world. The honest state of mind wherein there is absence of deceit, that is Satyam. Akrodaha, the final one, control over one's anger. He who is endowed with this virtue does not exhibit anger by practice. Even when he is insulted or rebuked, although he is strong enough to take vengeance, he does not do that. He is unaffected by the insult or injury and stays calm throughout in adversity. So these are the 10 universal definitions of dharma. So you cannot say that this is only for India. This is for the entire humanity. This is meant for all human beings. Our ancient Shastras give instructions for the entire human race. Our dharma is not created to any specific time in history or by any particular acharya, teacher or founder of a sect. It is not restricted to any particular group of people. That's why it is called as Sanatana, universal philosophy, with the good of the entire humankind in mind. Sage Kanada, in his Vaisheshika Darshana, while defining what is dharma, has given a very second definition of dharma, the very second sutra of the first chapter. Yeto abhyudaya nishreyasa siddhis sadharmaha. So that which leads to the attainment of abhyudayam, prosperity in this world, and nisreyasam, the total release of all suffering and attainment of everlasting happiness hereafter. That is called as dharmaha. Yataha abhyudaya nisreyasa siddhi sadharmaha. Maharshi Jaimini in the Mimamsa Sutras, the Dharma Shastra, he defines dharma as chodana lakshano artho dharmaha. That which is enjoined, advised by the elders is dharma. Here the commentators like Shabara etc., they add a specific definition or visheshana to the lakshana. as to who is an elder or a shishta. Vedokta jnanatvena veda vihita karmakari shishtaha. A shishta or an elder must strictly adhere to the Vedic dictates while pursuing dharma. So by this adjective, the Buddhists, the Jains, they are all excluded because they do not accept the Vedic dictates. The commentators also add another adjective to dharma, adding that it should be balavad anishta anubandhi, meaning that which is not ultimately productive of any anishta or pain. That is also a visheshana for dharma in the Mimamsa, first chapter, second sutra. The first sutra being Athado Dharma Jijnasa. So these statements, they make it clear that dharma is not merely an obligation. It's not a personal duty. It's not a darshana or a vision of a sage, or it is not confined to any denomination, time, or region. It is a universal principle, just like the Veda said, Vishwasya Jagataha Pratishtha. It's a universal principle or law meant for the entire universe, the whole mankind. That's why our Vedas, Smritis, Darshanas, Puranas, Itihasas, like the Valmiki Ramayana, like the Mahabharata, they contain no dogma as they proclaim Dharma Mimamsa, the pursuit of Dharma, as their subject matter. This is why Manusmriti says in the second chapter, 20th verse, Yetaddesha prasutasya sakshat vai agrajan manaha swam swam charitam shiksheran prithivyam sarva manavaha. Prithivyam sarva manavaha. All the manavaha, people of this earth, should get the teaching of dharma, this hermeneutics of dharma. They should get it from here, from the Vedas, from the Shastras. The application of this dharmic teaching is not confined to any topography or time. Our Shastras are not only for some jati or caste or some sampradaya or traditional religious sect or some varna or race or a kula or a clan. It is universal. There are also Vishesha dharmas for this. But all the injections of our dharma in our culture, they apply equally to all people. Bhagavad Gita clarifies this. Yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmanatam abhyarchya siddhim vindandi manavaha. The 18th chapter, 46th verse. This entire cosmos, universe, is pervaded by Paramatma, by Sri Krishna, by Vasudeva, who is the source of all prana, asu. That is why he is Vasudeva. The life, asu is life, prana in this cosmos. So by worshipping Vasudeva, by one's own prescribed action or duties, which is swadharma, a man attains siddhi or success. So this sloka helps us to comprehend that Krishna as Vasudeva pervades the entire world as consciousness, as being, as the essence, the existence of this world, and because of whom all beings get involved in their various activities, because of this Vasudeva as prana in them, and because of whom, and by worshipping whom, they attain siddhi or success. So worshipping Vasudeva makes the antakarana, the inner faculty, shuddham or pure. And the person becomes ananya, he becomes united with the worshipped Vasudeva. So if you look at this creation through the eyes of Vasudeva, through the eyes of his teaching, then all is perfect, everything is purnam. However, when we see it from our own individual viewpoint, it becomes erroneous. It becomes filled with pain and riddled with problems. So we have to align our vision with that of the Purna Purusha, Sri Krishna, who is complete within himself, and therefore his Paripurna Drishti, his perfect vision, will enable us to understand the truth of our existence, of the world. We should understand that the Paramapurusha is the creator of all, and it is his grace that enlivens all. That is why a Sarvavit, a wise person, he worships the Paramatma with Sarva Bhava, with all his heart. That is there in the Gita, 15th chapter, penultimate, 19th verse. Sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. O Arjuna, a person who knows my essential nature, that I am the existence, reason for existence for everything, which is my essential nature, he worships me with all his bhava, his heart, with his every thought and deed. So this is the reason Bhagavatam says, Srama eva hi kevalam. Mere enquiry into dharma or ethics is futile and wasted, because routinely performing these actions to attain various ends is mere labor, as Sridhara clarifies. Yo dharma iti prasiddhaha sayadi vishwaksenasya kathasu ratim na utpadayet tarhi swanishtitopi. Even if it's well performed, swanishtitopi, ayam sramaha jneyaha. However well practiced, that dharma is mere labor, as it does not create love for the stories of Lord Krishna, and is futile and wasted. In Mukundamala, Kulasekara Alva points this out in the 20th verse. Amnaya bhyasananyaranyaruditam vedavratanam vaham medacheda phalani purta vidayas sarve hutam bhasmani tirthanam avagahanani cha gajasnanam vinayat padadvandam bhuruha samsmritir vijayate devassa narayanaha. Without the remembrance of Sri Hari, Sri Krishna, the Vedic recitation, Amnaya Abhyasaha, they are merely Aranya Ruditam, a crying in the forest, in the wilderness. Regular observance of severe vows such as Ekadashi, Veda Vratani, which are enjoined in the Vedas, Meda Cheda Phalani, it is no more than a way to lose your medas. Medas means extra weight. It's merely weight loss if you do Ekadashi without remembering and doing Arpana to Sri Krishna. And Purta Videha, performing Agnihotra or digging well, doing charity. They are all like Sarve Hutam Bhasmani, pouring oblations onto ashes. And Tirthanam Avagahanani, the bathing at various tirthas, holy sites, is no better than Gajasnanam, an elephant's bath. Immediately after taking bath, he puts on mud. So how does one get this Sri Krishna Rati or taste towards listening to Sri Harikatha? By cultivating a habit of taking one's chittam or mind to a place where there is no lokavasana, no worldly pursuits, and therefore is free from undue duress, stress. That is how you begin. You have to go to an alaukika sthanam, like satsangam. That is how you begin to turn your taste and advance in the path of Harikatha Rati, an unquenchable love for the stories of Lord Sri Krishna. What does one normally do in life? What we do is called as Chitta Vinodam. That is engaging one's mind in Vinodam or pleasure, fun pursuits. And this is called the pursuit of happiness. And look at the nature of this pursuit. Do you have any power to alter the experiences, the visible experiences you are confronting through your senses. No. You have to adjust yourself and attempt to alter these forms as much as you can. The sense objects you are pursuing, they are the same. It is the same laddu you are eating year after year. It's only that many nuances are introduced to make the pleasures more interesting. The world does not go, the object does not go any transformation at all. Only the projections of your mind keep altering. Bhoga or sensual enjoyment cuts both ways. What we devour devours us. Our food will eventually consume our body. We normally don't pay attention to this. Bhartrihari says that in Vairagya Shatakam. Bhoga na bhukta vayameva bhukta tapo na taptam vayameva tapta kalo na jato vayameva jata trishna na jirna vayameva jirnaha. The bhogas or sensual enjoyments that are pursued eat the bhokta, the one who gives free rein to enjoyments, bhoga, who releases them with unbridled pleasure is consumed by them. We assume that we consume the bread and rice, which is but a form of earth, and eventually we are consumed by into the same earth, into which our food is eventually resolved. So this is the state of all sensual pursuits. So in order to remove ragadvesha, attachments and repulsions, indriyasya indriyasyarthe ragadvesho vyavasthito tayor na vashamagachet. They are in each and every sense object. They are in your life. And for a natural detachment to rise in your heart, you need a source of inspiration to foster your will. You need a Shakti. And this Shakti is called as Bhakti in the form of Vasudeva Katharati, the love for Vasudeva's Katha. This gives your Chittam the Shakti or strength, the energy to become unattached. The Chittam cannot cultivate the strength to disengage itself from worldly pleasure pursuits unless it has got this Bhakti. Then only it will have that maturity to drop it off. And the Bhakti is filled with bhava or sweet emotional state of mind that is brought about by contemplating on one's Ishta. For instance, what time of day it is right now? So right now it is noon and it is very hot and humid outside. But let your mind imagine that it is dawn right now because you are sitting inside a cool room. Imagine, close your eyes and imagine that it is dawn. And just see how enjoyable it is. You will have no asakti or attachment towards that imagined early morning. And you will be anasakta or unattached towards this hot, humid noon. So you are in your home, sitting in your chair physically, but you take your mind to the early morning to Brindavana. What will happen if that is done? The presence of your home continues to occupy your mind, but for a brief time span, you will become free of this attachment. So let your mind turn this noon into dawn and your home into Brindavan and reinstate the spouse, the child, the wealth that fills your mind with the blue-hued boy standing in the woods of Brindavan, captivating onlookers by his mere kataksham, by mere side glance. So what Vyasa says in the Bhagavatam is that someone named Krishna lived 5,000 years ago. You can only evoke your buddhi or your intellect in him through that smriti or memory given by Vyasa. And the smriti is always anubhuta vishaya, or something that has been experienced earlier by you or someone else. Samskara janyam jnanam smritihi, an experience you have which is born of memory is called as smriti. Moreover, smriti will be possible by an experience if you have heard about it. You don't have to sakshat experience it. That means the things you remember will depend on your sravana, what you are listening to. So Shuka is recreating in your heart what happened 5,000 years ago. So this Sri Krishna Leela, this playfulness of Sri Krishna gives you that vairagya or objectivity that the practice of yoga gives through meditation. Yoga abhyasa or practicing of yoga is needed if you want to quieten the restlessness of your mind, to get some peace. As seen in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Asango Hyayam Purushaha. This jiva, this Purusha is without any attachment. 4th chapter, 3rd kanda, 15th mantra. And this Vairagya is the earliest stage of that Asangata, the state of being unattached. You will be able to abide in your Asanga Atma in a Nisanga Bhava, in an unattached state, only when you have Vairagya or objectivity. That is born of Krishna Katha Kutuhalam, a curiosity to know about Krishna. This is pointed out in the 2nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 2nd verse of the 4th chapter of the 2nd canto. Atmajaya Sutagara Pashudravina Bandhushu Rajye cha Avikale Nityam Virudham Mamatam Jahau. So King Parikshit, while listening to Shuka, as a result of his wholehearted attraction towards the narratives of Sri Krishna Katha Rati, he was able to give up Virudham Mamatam, deep-rooted attachment for Atmajaya Sutagara Pashudravina Bandhushu, for his body, his wife, his children, his palace, his horses, his elephants, his wealth, his friends and relatives, and his vast and undisputed kingdom. He was detached. So eventually, by bhakti, by Krishna Katha Rati, you become free of desha, the place where you are seated, and you'll become free of the kala, the time in which you are, and you become disengaged of names and forms, nama rupa, that normally occupy your mind, creating strife and conflict, samsara dukkham. This is how Bilomangala or Leela Shuka puts it. Yatra kvapi nishidya yadava kulottamsasya kamsadvushaha smaram smaramagham harami tadalam anyai kimanyena me. Now I have decided to free myself from all past wrong doings, and this is the prayachita I am going to do. Simply by remembering always the great offspring of Yadu clan, the great enemy of Kamsa, that is Sri Krishna, by taking his name again and again, I will free myself. This again is what the divine poet of Utkadu, Sri Venkata Kavi, he says of Krishna. The poet imagines in Vatsalya Bhava that he himself is Yashoda and Nandagopa, the parents of Sri Krishna. And he is trying to bribe Sri Krishna from not leaving him behind and going away into the woods to play with the cattle, to herd the cattle. So this is the bribery he is offering. Oh Krishna, Gopala, I beseech you. You are the cowherd, the one who grazes, tends and herds cows. But please do not go out in this hot sun. Kim tena patum payaha. What do I gain? Krishna asks. If I do not go out now, I will give you patum payaha, your favorite snack, boiled milk. And Krishna says, I don't want it. I can get that milk from the cattle there. They are my friends, they will give me. So the bribery does not work. What I want is now to go out happily and set out and graze the cows. And I'll be back in just 1 second. But now I have to go. So please do not say anything to prevent me. Even here, Krishna is very careful that he wants to come back and get that treat. Now, Yashoda understands that it is hard to stop him. So she says, she uses some scare tactics. If she wants to scare Krishna away and says, there is always the scare of thieves on the banks of river Yamuna. So if these thieves beat you up, you will be upset. So please don't go. Krishna says, well, you tell me one thing. Have you ever seen a thief who will trouble another thief? Because I am Choranam Padi. I am the greatest thief. So if the thieves come to give me trouble, I will cut them into pieces. Because I am the sealer of the butter and the hearts of people. And he uses this to deny his mother's request. Now mother says, there are animals in the forest, so they can come and trouble you. Then Krishna says, all the animals in the forest are my friends. When they see me, they always come running towards me. They greet me. And they are easily subdued by me. And as a final attempt, Yashoda takes the name of Nandagopa. So she asks Krishna, when your beloved dad Nandagopa returns home from his duties and asks, where is my little son? What can I say? So Krishna says, don't worry. Just tell him that I'm just outside in the side street playing ball with my friends, the other boys. And even before you come looking for me, I'll run back. So he argues with her and runs away. So these poets, Bilvamangala and Utkad Venkatakavi, they show how to foster a relationship with Vasudeva, with Krishna, and relinquish the desha and the kala, the time and place that you are conditioned with. How to see Vrindavana in your bhavana, through your mind's eye. Give up your home and go to Vrindavana, which is a continent away, and unfetter yourself of kala, time, which you are separated from by 5,000 years, and see in your mind now, see that mischievous blue boy approaching you sometimes and stooping over your shoulders when you are seriously doing something and doesn't care to come near you when you want to call him. See again how he listens to you obediently when you say, sit down, he sits, and you say, stand up, he stands up. You say, come in front of me, he comes before your mind's eye. Once in a while, give up your normal routine and attach your mind with Vasudeva. Because Krishna is Ananda Kanduka, is a ball of joy. He is lifted up in Udupi by Ananda Tirtha, by Madhvacharya, who expresses this in his Kanduka Stuti. Balakrishna is lifted up, he jumps up and spills all over into his being through his mind's eye. So this Sri Krishna, who is Vasudeva, is already in your innermost recess of your heart space. Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman, as Satchit, as true knowledge, and is famous in the Vedas as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. If you attach your mind to any object that is external, it will move away eventually. But if you attach your mind to your innermost core being, he surely will back you up. To begin with, it will remain with you only occasionally and go away at other times. Then a friction will rise in your mind when this happens. Make your mind still within yourself. When the mind's movements are stilled, he will establish in your Surupa. As Leela Shuka says, Ulu Khalamva Yaminam Manova Gopangananam Kuchakutmalamba Murari Namna Kalabasya Nunam Alanamasi Trayameva Bhumo. One thing is sure in this world, for that little elephant named Balakrishna, these three things have become the entangling chain. Number one, Ulukhalam, the grinding stone which was used by Yashoda to tie him up. Number two, Yamuna Manaha, the hearts of yogis. Number three, Gopi Hridaya Kamalam, the bosoms of gopis which appear like blooming flowers. May we all bind that blue flower, the young Krishna, in our hearts with our unconditional rati or love. Swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahisha go brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sugino bhavantu sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ओम शांति शांति शांति.